Very convincing velociraptor impression.
What?
Why are you walking around like a velociraptor?
I have to spit.
That doesn't explain the arms.
God, I want to spit on them. Would you want to spit on them?
No, but that doesn't mean you can't put them somewhere else.
I had baking soda in my lipstick, so then I ate it off, and then I had lipstick in my mouth. Have some empathy. Be human.
Be human when you're being a velociraptor?
I prefer T-Rex.
Velociraptors are more dangerous.
My identity is T-Rex.
You heard it here first, interwebs. Helander is a T-Rex.
Wait, that's I might be a velociraptor with an identity disorder.
What happens when a velociraptor thinks it's a T-Rex? Today we're playing a brand new game.
Ooh.
We are going to play
So badass.
Wheel of Faction.
Told Sai to go ahead and write out the rules since I created everything else. And here are the rules. You guys remember this from last week on my channel, the pizza pan bottom? It's actually that one.
It's been turned into...
You inked on me.
This is the Wheel of Faction.
And you can make one yourself. You want to tell them how?
It's very simple. Take a circle of cardboard.
You could use paper, but your spinner's gonna really suck.
Yeah, it'll fall apart if you use paper. Don't use paper.
You could use paper if you're in prison.
Yes. The Wheel of Faction is based on the Dutchen formula created by Ronald Dutchen. The velociraptor does not know how to pronounce the man's name. Well said. There are 4 categories, just like there are 4 categories of activist in Ronald Dutchen's Dutchen formula.
I didn't know that.
Radicals.
Wait, hold on. What are you pointing to? You're like, radicals. Like you
Radicals.
You operate the wheel like you drive, Silarius. Come on, get legs.
Shut up, velociraptor.
Stop calling me that. It's offensive. I am not prehistoric.
Radicals. Idealists. Realists. And opportunists.
I spelled it all correctly.
She did.
I did.
There are special ways to go about disabling each type of activist, according to the Dutchen formula. Raptors have pronunciation.
Stop calling me a raptor. That's not PC. He's not PC, bro. Am I not allowed to speak without being called prehistoric? If I'm a raptor, then you are obviously a brachiosaurus.
A brachiosaurus?
Look at that hump. Look at it.
I'm not a triceratops?
No. Why would you be a triceps? Because you're a unicorn? Or because you have 3 dicks? Guys, I think he's horny. Oh, the poor baby. Oh, watch your glasses, honey. Dangerous curves ahead. That's gonna come, it's gonna follow you into bed now. That's what you get for revealing my age on YouTube. Gosh. Hey, would you like to try my Kylie Jenner lip kit?
No.
I have it in Lividity.
You know, I think that color's gonna look better on you than me.
No, it's totally gonna bring out your eyes.
Helander previously discussed
Stop referring to me. I'm becoming a little paranoid.
the ways in which you...
Like, yes, I'm on your channel again, and I'm in your bed.
previously discussed the ways in which
And I bring Bathman into your bed when you go to New York. I think we should have a cut too of like the Homer Simpson choking Bart. It's fun.
Seriously though, the Helander discussed the ways in which you disable each type of activist according to the Dutchan formula.
You or they?
They.
Mysterious they. I told you I was feeling paranoid.
They're
All
watching.
of this from calling me a raptor.
They're watching.
Oh, I know they're watching, but the fact that they've got you programmed to think that I'm a dinosaur is what has me concerned.
So, each type has a means of disabling it. Realists, or radicals rather.
Yeah, green's radical in this one. Remember, apple butt, apple bottom. What was her name? Little apple bottom. God damn it! I don't have the pony anymore.
Apple Blossom?
Apple Blossom, was that the one that was sitting down? That was the radical.
Yes.
Apple bottom. So little apple Blossom was our radical.
Okay, so radicals you isolate. Idealists,
You give radicals gas.
yes, that helps isolate them. So, idealists, you attempt to compromise by breaking their ideals and showing them that their ideals are actually harmful. Realists, you try and appeal to their sense of effectiveness and consequence.
I would say that you strip them of their cultural background and turn them on to becoming status shells.
Yes, and
To break them down, to break down the movement.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course these people can also be like, manipulated in good ways.
Right.
I can't do it. They're not my puppets. But if you're a world leader, I would advise that you take our advice
Yes,
and
so
kill yourselves. It's a suicide joke. God.
if you strip the realists of their cultural background and the reality of their roots, then they're stuck in the unreality of statism. And then
The
lastly,
unreality of statism?
because statism is a very surreal perspective. It doesn't work very well
Well,
unless
so is idealism.
Yes.
So why don't we say the mode?
Yes. So, and then lastly, the opportunists.
This is your vlog, after all.
The opportunists follow the rewards. Opportunists will be loyal. Opportunists will be loyal to your cause as long as you reward them better than the alternative cause would.
That's
Simply put, ass, cash, or grass. Opportunists tend to follow these sorts of things.
You know what's weird? You put that in alphabetical order, ash, cash, or grass. I'm pretty sure it's usually cash, grass, or ass.
You're right.
But like you automatically resort it alphabetized.
Little secret, I'm a little bit OCD and autistic.
What? Surprise! The coder's autistic! And his girlfriend's crazy!
No, you're not.
I know, I'm not your girlfriend. Where
No,
is she,
you're-
by the way? I'll kill her.
Yeah, autistic coder with,
Big dick.
yeah. So, opportunists are easy to compromise
Because they like big dick?
because they follow the rewards, positive motivations. Mercenaries are some of the most loyal people as long as you're better funded than your opposition.
Sun Tzu has a lot of strategies for this. He actually thinks that opportunists should always be worked towards the cause. So if you're dealing with an opportunist, you should like try to charm them and try to persuade them to your side. But I mean, fuck. Grassroots activist movements do not have the resources to have mercenaries.
Sun Tzu was not really very much about asymmetric warfare. Warfare where one side has a lot more resources than the other. But activism is very much asymmetric warfare. So the usual strategy of bribe the opportunists and hire them and generally recruit the mercenaries by paying them well, that doesn't
Cat. Cat's munching her own butt. Happy Catter Day.
Happy Catter Day. The usual thing about, recruit the opportunist, recruit the mercenaries doesn't work when you're in a grassroots activist movement because, well, you've got the problem of your opposition has much, much more money than you do. Yep, very often. And so the problem boils down quite simply to when you're dealing with asymmetric warfare, opportunists are not very useful unless you can make a very convincing argument that you will be able to reward them much, much better than the establishment can after you win.
Big blowjobs. 72 virgins. It's freaking Scrooge McDuck
Right.
shit. Like these people
Yeah, these
just are greedy.
they are. And so
That's all it.
very much. And so the deal is basically if you want to deal with opportunists, you need to be able to say, oh, well, after I win, and you have to have a convincing plan by which you are going to win, after I win, and I'm in charge of everything, you get X, Y, Z, and so on.
I'll quit before I have a baby, well before.
Yes.
That way I can revascularize.
So, all of this being said, any of these types can be useful in an activist movement, but you have to bear in mind how they can be compromised. And so it is worthwhile to be able to identify where on the wheel of faction different activists would fit. And so we have created a game, the Wheel of Faction.
Because originally we drew this out on a
Paper plate.
right, and we were like, wait, hold on. We noticed. So this is all our work. This is all subjective, by the way. That radicals within activist groups, so we're not comparing them to like other people. Radicals are kind of the opposite style of activist from opportunists. Now in real life, I don't think that anybody really falls purely in one category, but the way that they move can be generalized into a style, usually with a leaning towards another style.
And so there's a lot of potential for conflict between radicals and opportunists. Likewise, there's a lot of potential for conflict between idealists and realists. Because the idealist, from the realist perspective, the idealist is ignoring consequences and precautions that should be taken and things like that in favor of clinging desperately to their ideal. And from the idealist perspective, the realist is a downer and generally dragging down the morale, cause problems.
And now this doesn't have to be true. Activists can all get along, in one great big, party. That's happened before, but
absolutely. Generalizations and potentials. And so, the fundamentals of the game, Wheel of Faction.
I'm actually going to adjust this because we're clipping the top of our heads.
That is worth adjusting.
I know that our viewers must love it when I do that. All two of them. Hey, babes.
We love you, all two viewers. So, the Wheel of Faction. The goal of the Wheel of Faction is to gradually take your activists, and how you do this is you start by getting several names of activists. This is an educational game. This is a train your brain to identify this pattern game.
Right, and the board, the wheel itself, unless you use a re-stick type deal, and everything is really meant to be saved. The game board itself isn't, but the wheel should be kept with its stickers because it sort of documents where people think that people were at any given time. So you can reflect on it and see how your observations may have changed or been confirmed later on.
So
I really have gas, and I'm not even like drinking. It's that lentil meal I cooked.
Yep. So
I did this lentil bacon thing. It was good. Really good. I'm still tasting it.
So we are using some of these emoji stickers.
I wonder where those came from.
And we've written names on the back. This one is Bill Gates.
You can tell because he wears glasses.
Yes. And so how the game works is
we have two more here.
Those two don't have names on them.
Oh, okay. We just sort of threw this together this morning. So our activists are Bill Gates, Cebu, Gandhi, Chelsea Manning, Frederick Douglass, Jeremy Hammond. Benedict Arnold, Joe the Plumber, Malcolm X, Hitler, Joan of Arc, Martin Luther, Rosa Parks, Edward Snowden, and Gloria Steinem. So those were the activists that we chose to play with.
Right. Now,
You can choose to play with equally historical and notable activists, or, and this is where it gets really interesting, if you are an activist in a community that's currently suffering some breaks, you know, I mean, if you're an activist right now in any community, even vaguely associated with mine, I think you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of dissonance going on.
yep. So you can use people you know.
Right, right. But I wouldn't necessarily like post and publicize that unless you want to roast somebody, I guess, because
Right.
you might be revealing some personal information. So we've all chosen people that we
General
either
public figures.
people we don't think we'll ever necessarily be meeting, you know, and can regard objectively.
Right. People who don't.
I would like to meet Frederick Douglass, though. He seems very romantic.
He was born in like 1895 or something.
I'm
I
so
think.
attracted to bones.
Pretty sure he did. So, all this being said, we chose public figures. Not all of them agreeably virtuous, but definitely public figures. Now, the object of the game,
And all the stickers have to be different.
yes, the object of the game is to, by the end of the game, have the most gems of knowledge.
Right, and these are our gems of knowledge. We just borrowed them from another board game. You can use just pieces of paper, tokens,
Right.
anything that you have, but because
Pennies, it doesn't matter.
because we're doing this on a vlog, I
We're
chose
using
to
something
do
pretty and colorful.
right, something that you might be able to see.
So, how the game works.
Okay, I'll write this down as you go. By the way, I've got this.
The object of the game is to have the most gems of knowledge at the
Excuse
end
me.
of the game. The game ends either when all players have reached the end space on the game board.
Okay, what was the objective?
The objective is to have the most gems of knowledge at the end of the game.
Okay.
The game ends either when all players have reached the end space on the game board, or when all activists have been successfully and conclusively placed on the wheel of faction.
Okay. Rules.
Rules. So there's one rule I haven't figured out yet, which is how you decide when you how you decide whether or not you get to move forward or back or whatnot, and when you get to move and whatnot.
Okay, well, I would say that players roll flip a coin to see who goes first, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to add dice to this to determine how many spaces you roll? Or do you want to just like bloop, bloop, bloop?
Dice for spaces isn't a bad idea.
Okay, so we're going to add dice to the game now.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have one of those lying around?
Yeah.
I'll find some fun dice. Fun dice.
There's one in oh no, you don't.
I want to use the Lego dice because they
Okay.
bounce.
There aren't.
Oh, they don't have normal things on them. That's true. Okay.
And oh no, you don't? You said there was a die?
Yep.
Okay. We use that. Oh, I'm about to spill it.
So
Here we go.
on your turn, you roll the die. You move forward. Here's a die. You move forward. Now, the way we have the board set up is there are.
And then I'm actually going to make a new rule because of the way that this goes.
Mm-hmm.
There's no 5 or 6. 5 or 6 means you don't move
Okay.
because there's only 32 spaces on this.
Right.
Oh God! What
So-
is she doing here?
So, there are 32 spaces on the
Actually,
board.
it has no smell whatsoever. Do you notice that?
Imagine that.
I'm clean.
So there are 32
Fucking
spaces
saint.
in the board. So you go around
Fucking priest, I'm pure.
counterclockwise and then clockwise on the inner circle.
I can't help it. I'm rude.
And on 5 and 6, you stay the hell put. If you land on a spin space, you spin the wheel of faction.
For an opportunity to play.
Mm-hmm. And so you spin the wheel of faction. So spin.
So let's say you land on a realist.
I landed on radicals.
Radicals.
So what that means is I have to look at the remaining activists that haven't been played yet, and I have to pick one that I think is a radical. And then I have to make a convincing argument that that activist is in fact a radical. And if I convince the other players that that activist is a radical, then I stick the activist to the board.
And you get a
I
corresponding
get
gem.
a correspondingly colored gem.
Which radical gems in this game are black.
Because we
And
don't
all
have
over the
green.
floor.
Because we don't have...
I'm sorry, fairy. They're not ponies. If I can drop them, they're not ponies. That's why I'm giving my ponies away, because I'm obviously an abusive pony owner. Oh, God.
So, we don't have green gems, so we're using black gems to represent the radicals.
My farts were melting the paint off the ponies.
It's good you set them free. So, if you don't convince the other players that your activist of choice belongs in the section that you spun,
You die.
you don't get the gem.
Oh.
And if another player successfully argues that the activist belongs in a different section, they win. They get the gem. And so, it is a game of debate.
Yeah, we've never played it before. We've never made it before. I'm a raptor, but I think I'm a T-Rex. Damn it. I think you just defeated my ideals. All right.
And that's how it works. And so, you go around, you land on spin, then you spin, you argue the activist you picked. You do not have to pick an activist. If you do not think there are any activists left in the pile that you can convincingly argue belong to that group that you spun, you do not have to pick an activist. You're not forced to take an activist that you don't think is a radical and try and argue that they're a radical.
Yeah.
Eventually, you will either run out of activists or the players will all reach the end. When this happens, whoever has the most gems of knowledge wins.
Yep.
And that is the game.
Let's just play with the crappy board I made.
Yep.
They don't need to see it.
Nope.
You guys don't need to see it.
Nope.
But you might want to see our pieces. I was gonna like redraw it for you, make it really colorful. I'll do that maybe
Later.
if I want to later.
So we're using the turret from Portal, the uncooperative cake acquisition game, and the apple, the Callisti apple of Eris, from the Discordian faction of Illuminati. Helander is playing as the Callisti apple. I am playing as the turret.
It's hard to make them like focus. I made this.
She did.
Made it.
So, that is the basics of the game.
Those are the basics of the game.
I'm being deliberately ungrammatical.
Ungrammatical.
Grammar failure
All
for the
right.
win. So,
Roll. Whoever gets the highest, 5 and 6 included on this time goes. We were gonna flip a coin. 5. Very good. 2. Did I pause the video?
no.
Okay, I won't roll there again. Want to get a box to roll in? Yeah, I got one. Look at this. This will be fun because sometimes the dice will fall through. Not really, but it won't be flat, so this isn't good. But you could just, yeah, I like that. That's fun. Okay.
The dice actually don't fall through?
No, they just sometimes land crooked, so you have to like put it down flat. That's not so bad, is it?
Nope.
Okay.
So,
5 and then I roll. I didn't roll.
you did. You rolled a 2.
Oh. Sixes and 5s don't count. What'd you get?
6.
So you stay put.
I am staying the fuck put.
Five, staying put.
Three.
Ooh. Yeah, wrong way. Starts off counterclockwise.
No spin.
Okay. Do you want to show them the board? They're not going to really be able to see it. It's a burnt hot plate.
Burnt up cork trivet.
Yeah. And basically we're moving it like this, 16 around counterclockwise, and then we go and then we go clockwise 16, and that's our end. Every other space is a spin. I was gonna do it on the non-burnt side for you guys, but like I said, I just don't think that's necessary.
Nope. So it's your turn.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited.
And you couldn't find the dice. We need a different box. I'm getting us a different box.
I just kind of like doing this, really. Radical dice, hot dice. Whoa. What?
3.
I got a 3?
You did.
Okay. I'm on your space.
Mm-hmm.
That means I get to do nothing. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So rules. If your turn.
2. Well, that's no fun. Nothing.
Okay. 6, nothing.
4. Nothing.
No. This game's poorly designed. Who made this? 1, spin. I'm so excited. It's my first spin. Opportunists. Just barely.
Opportunists.
Okay, so I see that we have a lot of things here. Gloria Steinem, Edward Snowden, but none of these people are striking me as opportunists. Rosa Parks, Martin Luther, Joan of Arc, oh yeah, definitely an opportunist. Hitler, that's a possibility. Malcolm X, Joe the Plumber, Benedict Arnold, Jeremy Hammond, Benedict Arnold is an opportunist.
So, convince me that Benedict Arnold is an opportunist.
Benedict Arnold is an opportunist because he defected from the American side in the American Revolution to the British side because he wasn't getting promoted the way that he wanted to be promoted, and he wasn't getting the pay that he wanted to get. And moving to the British side would put him in a better position.
So money and status.
Yeah. And he was an activist because they didn't have activists back then quite the same way, but you know, people who were politically or socially active.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was politically and militarily active.
Right, and in a position of influence.
And then said, "Fuck you! I want to get paid better."
Okay. Do you agree that Benedict Arnold, out of the active types, would be a opportunist? I think I got the easiest one.
Is she playing on easy mode?
Yeah, this is so easy that I'm actually going to put him right in the... Actually, I'm going to put him right in the center of the O. Yeah. Bang. Benedict Arnold. And I get a gem for orange, which is a red gem in this game.
Because we don't have any orange gems.
No, who has orange gems? Come on. If you have orange gems, send them. Send them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, your turn. What'd you get?
6.
My turn. I'm doing really good. 2. Bonk, bonk.
Spin.
Okay. Radicals. Okay, I gotta find a radical activist. I'm going to choose Jeremy Hammond.
Jeremy Hammond.
Is my radical activist.
Convince me that Jeremy Hammond is a radical and not, say, an idealist.
Jeremy Hammond is a radical because of the way that he led people and was taking action, and he worked best when he was like organized around people, and I guess he is an idealist in some ways, but I feel like his statement to the judge kind of revealed a disregard for authority that was more part of his style than maybe concern for who he was hurting by hacking.
So you think because of a lessened concern for collateral damage?
Yes. I think because he has a lessened concern for collateral damage, and because he's willing to take radical action against the system and lead people, that Jeremy Hammond would be a radical that maybe leans towards idealistic.
I think she might be right.
Okay, so I get to put it?
You do, and you get another gem
Ah!
of knowledge.
I get a black gem of knowledge. Solid.
Black like your soul.
Oh. There we go. I put it right there.
So,
Now is the time to mention that you can write to prisoners. If writing to prisoners is your thing...
1. I get to spin. Opportunists. Opportunists. Okay. Who here is a great opportunist?
And why?
I'm going to argue that Cebu, Mr. Zombie Emoji, is an opportunist.
But why? Why is he not, for example, a realist?
Because Cebu is most defined by the fact that after being captured by the feds, rather than taking his punishment, keeping his head down, and getting back to work afterwards, he took the opportunity to work with the feds, reduce his sentence further, and fuck over the whole movement.
But realistically, there were like people in his family he was looking out for, and he was poor and blah blah blah.
Many, many people, upon being arrested, go on GoFundMe and say, I've been arrested for political activism.
Yeah.
He could have done that. That would have been a realistic way to get support for his family. That would really tug at the heartstrings. Lots of people would have been like, oh my God.
Our dear boy.
He has a nephew or some shit. He has some relative kid that he's fucking taking care of. Oh my God, we have to help him. Oh my God, we have to help him.
Poor boy.
And then people would have shoveled money at him.
As much as they had, yeah.
And
This is how they would have shoveled it, because like activists typically are not loaded. So,
we're often broke.
They would have shoveled it because it would have been coins.
Yes. like those coin bulldozer games.
Right.
So the deal is that yes, people would have given money to try and keep feeding the family.
Yeah.
They would have done that. But
Especially the idealists.
yep. But you know what? He didn't go for that option. No, what did Cebu do? He folded.
You win, man. You get that gem and some.
So, Cebu is an opportunist. Now, does he lean realist or idealist?
He was able to get a position in Anonymous based on idealistic persuasion, but realistically there's a lot in opportunism, so he goes both ways. So really, I think in this case it would just make him closer to the center, closer to both.
Yeah. So that's going to put him right there.
He was idealistic enough to gain traction and
Right.
realistic enough to, I guess, try to play the, I'm just an every guy story.
So how we represent this is if someone is more ill-defined, more poorly defined, and closer to multiple things, then they go closer to the center. If they're more clearly defined, then they go further to the outside.
Right, and I think Benedict Arnold is your pure opportunist, or your true opportunist, not
Right.
pure, if not truly, because he's balanced, because he's in the center. That's what I would say, balanced opportunist.
Right, and so he's further out towards the extreme of opportunism than Cebu is.
Right.
So, it is your turn, my dear, and I take a red gem of knowledge for the opportunist.
6, no move.
2.
Spin!
Bump, bump.
He's catching up, maybe.
Idealists. Who on here is an idealist? Let's see. I choose Mahatma Gandhi.
Ah!
Mahatma Gandhi is the quintessential idealist
Okay.
because Mahatma Gandhi, he did not beat people for his ideals, which a radical might do. He simply sat himself and his ideals down and did not eat.
I'm going to argue that he is a radical activist because he led people, like in the Salt March, and he lived in a way that was focused around the things that he wanted to change.
But idealists want change too. He wanted a change in regime, but not a massive, tear down the old, out with the old, in with the new. No, it was not loud and angry and radical. It was not forcible and active. It was, I have this ideal of peaceful change from the oppressive British regime ruling my country to my people being free to self-govern. Idealist.
Radical.
Idealist.
Let's look him up. Never thought you'd have to look up Mahatma Gandhi again. Let's go.
Okay, so when in doubt, you look it up. Bang, W-G-A-N-D-H-I, enter. Wikipedia, Mahatma Gandhi.
Gandhi! First off, he was a leader.
That doesn't mean that he was a radical. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was the preeminent leader of Indian nationalism in British-ruled India. Employing non-violent civil disobedience, Gandhi led India to independence and inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. The honorific Mahatma, Sanskrit high-souled or venerable, applied to him first in 1914 in South Africa, is now used worldwide. He's also called Bapu, Gujarat endearment for father or papa. In India, in common parlance, he's often called Gandhiji. He's unofficially called the father of the nation. Born and raised in a Hindu merchant caste family in coastal Gujarat, Western India, and trained in law at the Inner Temple, London, Gandhi first employed nonviolent civil disobedience as an expatriate lawyer in South Africa in the resident Indian community's struggle for civil rights. After his return to India in 1915, he set about organizing peasants, farmers, and urban laborers to protest against excessive land tax and discrimination. Assuming leadership of the Indian National Congress in 1921, Gandhi led nationwide campaigns for easing poverty, expanding women's rights, building religious and ethnic amity, ending untouchability, but above all, achieving Swaraj, or self-rule.
Radical. 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 That right there proves that he's a radical, because it's about getting out from under authority rather than taking care of all of the people, as many people as possible.
I think he's very idealistic, because look, he's focusing on his ideals of an ideal country, and he's self-rule is the biggest part of it.
Where do you say it says he focused on ideals?
Because easing poverty, expanding women's rights, building religious and ethnic amity, these are all aspects of optimizing his country and making it more in line with his ideals of how his country should be.
But because he ruled, he led, he was a radical.
Can
Also,
idealists not be leaders?
Generally, no. Radicals are your leaders. Your fanatical idealist, radical leaders types are radicals. And then on top of that, he was imprisoned several times, and he practiced heavy-duty fasts at the end of his life, and he was killed. This wasn't someone who ever backed down from his ideals. This was someone who had to be prevented from taking action. His style was that of a radical, not an idealist. An idealist takes action, but an idealist has the quality of being soft, because they are
Well, the fundamental style of the action he takes is soft. It's explicitly...
No, soft as in... For example, he encouraged people to fast until death. That's radical. That's not soft. Soft would be get the word out. Give a little money.
Okay, that's fair. Helander gets the gem of knowledge this time.
Mahatma Gandhi is a radical. He is an idealistic radical. Heavily idealistic.
So he's going to be real close to the line.
Yeah, he's like right on the line.
And he's going to be towards the outside, because he's extremely both idealistic and radical, but he's not very much a realist or an opportunist.
Yeah, okay.
So he's going to be right about there.
Yeah.
So right there.
I will take my black gem. Yeah,
See that, folks?
I seriously consider him to be a radical, because he really demonstrated radical action in his style.
So Helander collects a black gem.
And he was someone that you can't compromise him by telling him what he was doing was wrong. The only way they could compromise him was by imprisoning or killing him.
Well, there you go. Roll.
1.
No spin.
Nada.
6.
6.
5.
5.
1. Nothing.
5.
2. Nothing.
5.
3.
Yeah.
Spin. Opportunists. Maybe Joe the plumber. Okay, I pick Joe the plumber. Samuel Joseph Wurzelbacher. Also known as Joe the plumber. So I'm going to say that Joe the plumber is an opportunist.
Why?
Because Joe the plumber was opportunistically focused on the taxes he would have to pay after buying a business, and opportunistically focused on the media opportunity he could seize by interacting with President Obama when Obama happened to visit his small Ohio town.
Joe's a realist. When he was visiting his town, Joe was a businessman who was developing his stuff, and Obama passed by and he was all like, "Hey Obama, will I have to pay more taxes? Will people like me have to pay more taxes?" And Obama explained his shit. And then Joe was promoted as a realist activist because he wasn't given a whole lot of opportunity. He didn't like go shout to the rafters, "Oh my God, blah, blah, blah." It was just like the right people that he was working with in telecommunications or whatever were like, "Oh yeah, you're definitely like saying the right thing. You're in just the right position to help us promote our statist mentality of lower taxes and trickle down economics." I'm saying that Joe the plumber is actually an opportunistic but classically realist. He had a cultural background that made him concerned about his fiscally conservative ethics. He questioned Obama because realistically he was concerned, okay? It wasn't like he saw him and like he tried to get in with him or manipulate him, or it wasn't like he had a big opportunity in saying that. It was like, this is the voice of my class, this is the voice of my people. And then as they pushed him forward, you never heard his last name. He was stripped of his cultural identity as like a working class, Polish American. What's his last name?
Wurzelbacher.
Wurzelbacher. So that's like Flemish. That's like some sort of like German or what's that Belgian name? That's a Belgian name. Look it up. You're blinking at me. It doesn't mean that I win on this if I'm right that Wurzelbacher is Belgian. It's Belgian, German, or Flemish.
Tell me about the surname Wurzelbacher.
Now I'm getting nervous. Germany.
I've got a Germany to Hamilton County, Ohio.
Yeah. So it's a Germanic last name. People are from Germany, Belgium, you know, someplace like that. Maybe it's just German. Most Americans have German blood, I've read somewhere.
Wurzelbacher. Not found.
Okay, so it's a Germanic last name. So he's like, you know, he's got this one of these like weird kind of like immigrant blockhead names, these Jerry last names, and he's got a Jerry mentality basically, and he has Jerry ethics, but they're American. And as he moved forward, he was rebranded as Joe the Plumber, not Joe the Entrepreneur, but Joe the Plumber, in order to make him...
Even though he was no longer working as a plumber.
Right, to make him more look like this workhorse. Okay, and yeah, he took that opportunity and ran with it a little bit, but at the same time, you didn't hear a ton from him later on. Like, that kind of was his message, was a realist's message of like, hey, we're small business people. Are you going to tax us really heavily because we make over $250,000 a year? That's realism. Because that's like, you know, him worrying about his class realistically.
I give you a yellow gem.
Oh yeah, I only come on your channel to crush. My turn.
Oh, you gotta stick the sticker.
Oh, I stick it?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I designed this game.
Yes, she did.
I designed it to win. Okay. Let's see. I say that he's an opportunistic realist. He's not so radical. Let's see. It goes right there.
Joe the plumber.
Joe Wazowski.
Wurzelbacher.
Yeah, I keep on thinking of Mike Wazowski. That's why I thought he was Polak. Damn Poles.
Remember that chick with the really high voice who was doing the impression of Boo, the little kid from
Mike McCarthy, Megan McCarthy, yeah.
She was doing an impression of the little kid from Monsters Inc.
Mike Wazowski. Yeah, she actually has that voice. Mike Wazowski.
Yeah.
Her throat must be the size of like a bobby pin.
Your turn.
Maybe she just has really tiny voice cords, vocal cords. 2.
Wrong way.
Yeah, boo. Nothing. Nada. But I'm still cleaning up.
1.
So this game's about debate. Because
Yep.
like nobody has like universally identified these people. This was like any classification system like this. Like it's just bullshit. But they're classifying people according to this. So you got to try to like argue it, you know, because they're doing the same
Your
thing.
enemy is using this.
Yeah.
Understand this system so you can use it against them.
Foe. No, that was like one of the worst ones I could get. You don't want to advance too much in this game.
6.
I'm getting hot. Gameplay's heating up. Yes! 3. 1, 2, 3.
No.
Start.
No, 3.
I start over.
3. Spin.
I'm reborn.
Realists.
Okay.
Pick a realist.
Okay. Chelsea Manning, Frederick Douglass, Edward Snowden, Martin Luther, Rosa Parks, Bill Gates. We just did a realist, didn't we? Hitler, Joan of Arc.
Mm-hmm.
Joan of Arcs. Gloria Steinem. Hitler. Gloria Steinem, Rosa Parks. The 3 that stand out are Hitler, Gloria Steinem, and Rosa Parks. Hitler. I'm going to say that Hitler was a realist.
Okay, why do you think Hitler's a realist?
Hitler was a realist because he was concerned with the Third Reich and he was concerned with the Third Reich and his own culture and the German people, even though he was Austrian. Like, he was like a crazy realist. So I think he was a realist bordering on either radical or opportunist. I'm not so sure about this one, but
I'm going to say no.
No, he's definitely a realist that's up here.
No, I'm going to say that Hitler is a radical. Hitler is not a realist because Hitler failed hard at strategy.
Yeah, he was crazy. That's what I say. He's like a crazy realist. I don't
Hitler
know.
failed hard at strategy. Hitler min-maxed on public speaking skills and
He could draw really well. Architectural drawings.
he could do architectural drawings. He could do good public speaking.
He could do good public speaking, if this is what you consider good.
Bingo. So,
Ow, I hurt my underjaw a little.
no fun. So, Hitler was not a realist. If Hitler was a realist, he would have been concerned with the practicalities of running his country, the practicalities of efficient conquest. Hitler was not concerned with efficient conquest. Hitler was a radical.
But he wasn't like, he was kind of effective. He was the Holocaust.
Yeah, so Holocaust deniers, out yourselves in the comments.
So you think,
I think he's a radical because a realist would have been concerned with efficient conquest. Hitler was not efficient.
well, what if he's
His,
a crazy realist?
He was a radical. Hitler was not efficient. His underlings were efficient. The efficiency was left to
The people he urinated on, you mean?
Yes.
Because I think he was into golden showers.
Yes, he was into golden showers. There's anecdotal evidence that he was very into golden showers.
So Godwin's law and Rule 34 are linked. That's what we just discovered.
Yup. So, Hitler is a radical. Hitler wanted to completely upend the existing system and take it over himself. He was not a virtuous radical, but he was absolutely a radical.
Yeah, I guess I'm sort of revealing a little bit of a bias against realist activists in a way by putting him in realists.
No, he was not a realist. He was utterly unrealistic in his aims. He was a radical. He had a few realists working for him, but he was a radical.
Okay.
The man himself was a radical.
He was about getting legs.
And he was an idealistic radical because he was consumed with his ideal.
Yeah, are you sure he
of a-
wasn't an idealist?
No, he was not an idealist. He was consumed with
He
his
was
ideal.
militant.
He was consumed with his ideal of a perfect Germany, but he was desperately pursuing it and willing to undergo some measure of hypocrisy to execute it.
Execute people?
Yes. So, Hitler is a somewhat idealistic radical.
Okay. So I'll hold it up for you. You get the gem.
I say Hitler goes right about here.
Okay.
Actually, no, Hitler goes about here.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some realist going on, but
There's
not
some
much.
realist and there's some opportunist.
Yeah. You screwed up, man. He screwed up man.
Uh-huh. So there's Hitler. And I get
It's hot.
a black gem.
Okay.
Okay, and now it's my turn. 1. Spin. Spin the wheel of faction. Radicals.
Radicals. Another radical.
Who on here is a radical?
This isn't so bad of
No.
a game for us just making this. Like, we literally were just gonna show you the wheel and then put stickers on it, and then we were like, wait, this is a game.
You know who was a radical?
No.
Martin motherfucking Luther. Martin Luther, the founder of the Protestant movement, Martin Luther was a radical because Martin Luther vehemently desired to upend what he saw as foul practices in the Catholic Church. And not only did he desire to do this, but he was not quietly clinging to his ideals. He nailed his ideals to the door of a church.
That's an idealist.
It's a radical.
I don't want you getting another gem. You're too damn close, Silas. Back off.
He's a radical.
Back off of my win. I think you might be right, actually, because here's the weird thing about Martin Luther that not a lot of people know. He fucking hated Jews.
Martin Luther.
He was not just like love, peace, and everything.
No, Martin Luther was a hateful motherfucker. He hated the Catholics for the practice of indulgences. Now, granted, that is something worth hating the Catholics for. Indulgences were a foul, foul idea. Here, if I give money to the church, God will forgive me for being a horrible person.
Yep.
Yeah, indulgences are bullshit. On the other hand,
And the church got a lot of its ass-backwards practices from the Jews, because the Jews, basically established banking in Europe and stuff like that. And so it kind of makes sense that if he hated one, he'd hate the other. But that's not fair.
no, it's not.
That's not fair.
So I think he is.
Baby. I think you're right. Well, that's not fair. Stick it on. Oh, my back. You mean get some booze?
Yeah.
Some booze?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're back.
Me too.
Okay.
So, Martin Luther is a radical. I'm going to say he's probably somewhat idealistic.
Yeah. I would think he's heavily idealistic.
I'm going to say Martin Luther goes...
Because I argued that he was an idealist, but you kind of won me out with the fact that he took action and was
I'm going to
mean.
say Martin Luther goes right about there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's really close to idealist.
So right about there.
Yeah. Because, he didn't, march or anything, you know?
Martin Luther.
Not that marching makes you a radical, but, he lived a good
give me
long
another
life.
black gem, and we're almost tied.
Ooh, boy.
You're in the lead.
I sure am. Let's see. Clockwise, correct? 1, 3, 4. Alright. And we're not going to sell this game. I have a few game ideas that I'm developing that I might like to sell. But something like this, we really want people to make it and play it at home.
Now, we may put together some PDFs that you can download and print at home.
Oh yeah, so that you could just stick it onto things or cut things out. You will need pieces such as stickers and actually and a spinner and movers. But as I'm going through this, I'm actually realizing that rather than emoji stickers, the smartest thing to use would be those office supply little neon tabs that you can write the names on.
Yes.
Or just print out their images onto sticker paper. That would be when we put the PDF, we should have 200 activists. No, because then also we would want to actually have stickers for people to write in things so they can analyze their own communities.
Right. What we should have are a bunch
It
of...
is more fun when you play with talking about your friends.
Yeah.
We've played it with our friends.
It's good gossipy fun.
Well, yeah, but it's not something you do except for when you want to talk in private about where you think people stand.
Nothing.
It's not for research purposes.
No.
It's for infotainment purposes and for food for thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so no spin for you? I think I missed a spin, or did I not?
You landed on me.
Oh, okay, that's it. Disappointing as hell. 1.
Also disappointing as hell.
There's too much disappointment in this game. There needs to be a little
6.
bit more movement for the players. Would you agree?
Yeah.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
We're not gonna get all the stickers.
Nope.
That's a 5. 5.
6.
That's how I would pronounce the number 5 if it were a letter sus, you know. But like an S. It looks like an S, doesn't
4.
it? That me? Did I spin? Yeah,
No, you don't spin.
I'm here.
Right, that's not
1,
spinning.
2, 3, 4. Oh, okay.
2. No spin.
This is pretty good fun though.
3.
1, 2.
And you are off. 3.
It ended too quickly. I could
1,
totally do this
2,
again.
3. I get to spin.
Ooh, that's competitive.
Opportunist.
Opportunists.
Now you can pass if you don't think you have any more.
Does that mean you don't think you have any more? Do you want to do a bonus round at the end where we like spin to see like who can stick them on, like the rest of them? Like you.
No.
Not to get them all stuck on and collect gems. I mean, we didn't invent the rule already. You don't like that rule?
No, I don't like that rule.
Can we stick them on for the vlog?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just want to stick them all on.
Yes. I don't think I have any opportunists I'm really sure about.
Your turn.
My turn.
This would play better with
5.
more people. By far, this would play better
Yes.
with more people. Also, it would make sense with the amount of stickers. So, like, 4 people would be the ideal amount for this game. How many stickers do we have? Like 16? About 16.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
1.
12, 13, 14.
Why did I roll?
3.
You're done.
1.
No more
2,
rolling.
3. I'm done.
I think I won.
Congratulations, Hellender is the winner.
I have the most knowledge gems. Show them your gems. Come on. Show them the family treasure.
Family jewels.
Family jewels, that's it.
Hellender wins, 3-4.
Alright, so that's really cool. And let's just like as a
For educational purposes, we are now going to
fun.
stick the remaining ones of these. Okay.
Let's take turns.
Okay.
Just spin. Like you spin, then I spin, and if you don't get one, then you don't get one. Idealist.
Idealist Frederick Douglass.
Okay.
Frederick Douglass is an idealist,
Not a radical?
not a radical.
He looked rad. I'm gonna keep on hitting on dead Frederick Douglass. I don't know. He
Frederick
looked
Douglass was a radical idealist, but he was an idealist.
Uh-huh.
He stuck to his ideals. He did not pursue violent action. He simply preached about his ideals and lectured about his ideals and wrote about his ideals very effectively. And
He wrote in a time when black people generally were not literate. That alone is radical.
he was taught by a radical. He was not himself a radical. Another radical slave decided, no, I'm going to teach you how to read and write.
Was it a slave that decided to teach him? Another slave?
I think so.
You might want to check. I think we need to look up Frederick Douglass. I wouldn't mind.
Frederick Douglass.
God, what is she doing? Don't invite me on your blog. I just take it and I put it and
Frederick Douglass was eventually
it
sent
goes
to the
pot.
Baltimore home of Hugh Auld.
That does not sound like a former slave.
It was there that Douglass first acquired the skills that would vault into national
Hugh
celebrity.
Old?
Defying a ban
Yes.
on teaching slaves to read and write, Ould's wife Sophia taught Douglass the alphabet when he was around 12.
They sound white.
Yes.
But then again, Douglas
Well,
is
no.
Frederick's name
he was sent to the Baltimore home of Hugh Auld. So that was his owner at the time. And Old's wife Sophia taught Douglas defying the ban on teaching slaves.
Yeah.
And then
And then the guy got mad.
right, and Old was like,
Stop
"Fuck that
messing
shit!
With that kid.
Don't
He's not a human. Don't treat him like he needs
don't
these
teach my slave.
skills."
Don't teach my slave the alphabet. Fuck you, woman.
Right. He doesn't need these.
Wifey,
skills.
get back in the bedroom.
Both of you have no status. Stop fucking intellectualizing.
Mm-hmm. Wifey, bedroom.
Why did
slave,
you even?
kitchen.
You don't even know. I'm gonna brain you, woman.
Mm-hmm. Wifey, bedroom, slave, kitchen.
Go.
Get. Both of you, get.
Yeah, I can
But
see.
Douglas,
So he was not taught by a former slave.
No.
That's just something I wanted to establish because that would have been very remarkable. Like,
But
who was that former slave who was literate
No.
that taught him? Yeah, that's
Nonetheless.
because he was that former slave who
Yes.
was literate. that
but
taught
nonetheless, he was taught by Sophia.
people. Yeah.
Sophia took the radical move of defying the ban on teaching.
Her husband was a dick
Yep.
and a slave owner. Like,
Yep.
that's way worse than being a dick.
Bad dude. But, so
Who
Douglas...
was it that we had to explain to online why it was universally ethically, morally wrong to own slaves? That was last year. You remember that fight?
I do.
And we actually had to break down why it causes objective harm to individuals in society to have slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just a matter of, well, he doesn't want it. But why, well, he doesn't want it, doesn't matter. Like, what was wrong with that person's brain? You look so cute in lavender.
Well, thank you. So...
We have a lavender relationship.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. We're
No.
so in it. Remember that time we were in New York and that guy was like, are you guys a real couple?
That guy was a dumbass.
That guy was not a dumbass. He was smoking us out and wanted to make sure we weren't informants.
So...
And that's exactly how you do it. You
Frederick-
just ask them,
Fred-
are you not a couple?
Frederick Douglass was an idealist.
Ow. Once again, every time you fake slap me, I always go towards.
Frederick Douglass was an idealist.
I think he was a radical.
I think he was a radical idealist.
I think you're right because he advocated for rights of people more than former slaves too.
Mhm.
But then why wouldn't that make Gandhi one? Because Gandhi organized and led and marched and was really hard,
Mhm.
whereas Frederick was like soft in his approach. He was
I think
literate.
I think he goes right about there.
Yeah. He's definitely not an opportunist, but he did take the opportunity to learn.
Okay. Your turn.
My
Spin
turn.
the wheel of
In
faction.
the bonus round.
Idealist.
No, that's literally nothing. Idealist. Alright. Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Gloria Steinem, Bill Gates, Joan of Arc, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden. Chelsea Manning is an idealist. That's Chelsea's emoji. Chelsea Manning is an idealist because she did what she did because she knew that what the U.S. was doing was wrong, and that didn't sit well right with her. She didn't want to be part and parcel of that, and also she was in love with a certain white-haired activist, who we didn't include. We
Nope.
didn't include him. What a snub. We're not even going to say his name. She didn't say his name. So she was in love, and then when she started interacting with Adrian, she just let the beans spill because she was fragile and needy and had psych stuff going on big time, was in transition, and just put it out there. So she's just like probably the purest idealist we have.
Idealist it is.
You can't even challenge that she's,
Nope.
because it was kind of radical of her, but she was in love, and then also what the information that the responsibility she had wasn't right for her because she was passing information that was about war, and so like to add an idealist in the military, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good thing, it just wasn't right for her, it wasn't right for the military. She wouldn't have radicalized, and she didn't really radicalize or try to organize people. She acted on her ideals, so she's one of the stronger idealist activists. Let's actually put her right here.
Chelsea Manning.
Chelsea Manning.
My turn. Wheel of
Faction!
Realists. Edward motherfucking Snowden.
What? That's a radical.
Nope. Edward motherfucking Snowden.
Oh man, we're gonna be here all night. I wanted to get booze too. He is such a radical.
Nope. Edward Snowden took
He's not a realist!
he took the most cautious, careful, pragmatic approach to handling this he could manage to do. First, he tries to work within the system and says,
Okay.
Yo boss man. Yo boss man. This is sketch. This is really fucking sketch. I am not thrilled with this, boss man.
Edward, if you're watching this, I hope you appreciate the way that
Yes.
he was retelling your
Yes.
history.
But so basically, hey boss, this is not cool. I'm not pleased with this. Can we talk about this?
Yeah, I do feel like he didn't go in to cause trouble.
And boss man's like, lol, nope, back to work. And so it was like, seriously, I got problems with this. Are we at all, doing the right thing about this? Like, yes, we're doing the right thing about this. It doesn't matter. Go back to work. And then he watches the head of the NSA lie in front of Congress. And he's working in the trenches and knows that what the head of the NSA is saying is factually untrue. Blatantly fucking false.
And that it's harming the people, the country that he loves.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, okay, realistically.
He wasn't nationalistic, but he cared about
Yeah, he cares
what
about
he
the
was
people.
doing.
So he's like, okay, realistically.
He didn't become status compromised.
No.
He's like your super strong realist. I'm
Mhm.
starting to see your point.
He's like, realistically, there is harm that is being done to the people.
Uh-huh.
Realistically, the powers that be are lying about it, and they don't listen when I try and go through proper channels to get it corrected.
Get legs!
Mm-hmm. Fuck this shit. I'm grabbing all the data, and I'm getting the fuck out. And once I'm somewhere safe, I'm going to get news organizations to go through this data with me and pick and choose the right data to release to change this shit.
He's like also a shining example in the media on our side of what to do, as well as a shining example of what not, like the easiest one to call a traitor.
Yep.
For the enemy side.
So he's
he's promoted by the media. Like
he's
your
the
little
arch
everyday
realist.
hacker will never get the respect that
he's
Snowden
the uber
is.
realist.
Snowden, you are the uber realist.
So Snowden is the uber realist with a
That's interesting. So realists, like, this doesn't make a realist like automatically bad.
No, realists are not bad per se. Realists
Are just diametrically opposed to your idealists.
Right.
So your idealists are going to kind of shit on them a little bit if they're not doing so strongly.
Now I'm going to say he leans a little bit.
Or if the community's suffering,
I'm gonna
because that
say-
affects everybody.
I'm going to say he leans a little bit radical.
Unfortunately, which is why you got to withdraw from the social aspect of the community right now and get legs. Start thinking strategically, guys. If you're watching this long, I know that you're interested, that
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. We're
So-
probably going to have a Trump presidency. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say we will have a Trump presidency, and some shit's
It's
going
going
to
to
hit
be-
the fan, I think.
The
I don't think it's going to be quite like the fantasy that a lot of the paranoid people espouse, but I do think it's going to get very serious, and there's going to be bloodshed. People are going to lose their lives, so you got to get legs at this point.
it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
So I'm saying he's a little bit
We've been
radical.
getting legs for years, so to speak. That's part of why I feel the authority to speak. You see, I keep my legs right here, able to silence at any time. Look at that bruise. I think that was from filming yesterday.
So I'm going to say that he is a radical realist. I'm going to say he goes right about there.
Get legs!
How's that?
Get legs! It's good. It's right by the bottom of the R.
So,
Radical realist, Snowden. My turn.
your turn.
This is the funnest part. You could just play it like this, by the way. You don't have to do it the way we did it at all. In fact, did you think this enhanced anything? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it did. This is the cherry on the ice cream. So if you don't like ice cream, skip that shit. If you like cherries, I don't know, look it up.
Opportunists. Do we have any more opportunists picked out?
Picked out?
Any
Well,
more?
let me pick one out. Gloria Steinem, maybe. Bill Gates, maybe. Joan of Arc, nah. Malcolm X, no. Rosa Parks, no. Bill Gates. In his activism, he's not opportunistic. Gloria Steinem has had some opportunistic actions, like she's a sellout and she took federal money and stuff over activist money because she didn't want to do what they did, but it feels more like it was just that the activists she wasn't willing to work with them. So I don't know that she's quite an opportunist because she didn't sell anybody out. I feel like she's more of a realist. I don't think I have any more opportunists. Your turn.
Opportunists, I agree. Radicals, okay. I'm going to say Malcolm X is a radical. Malcolm X is a fucking radical.
I think you're right. He's an idealist. He's an idealist, not a radical.
Nope,
I know, he's a radical. Let's argue for it. I'm going to take the position. Look him up. Come on, let's give him the respect of defining why he is a radical. This is, like, he's so clear. He might be one of your purest radicals, huh?
Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little and also later known as El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, was an African-American Muslim minister and human rights activist. To his admirers, he was a courageous advocate for the rights of blacks, a man who indicted white America in the harshest terms.
Not an idealist.
Harshest terms for its crimes against black
I know
America.
this, though.
Detractors accused him of preaching racism and violence.
Right.
He has been called one of the greatest and most influential African Americans in history. Yes, radical. Leans a little idealist, but radical. I think right there.
I hate when I can hear neighbors.
Me too. Your turn.
I bet they really hate when they can hear us. Okay, here we go. Opportunist.
Skip it.
Oh, your turn, actually.
Nope. Realists.
Gloria Steinem. Gloria Steinem is a realist activist because she was into activism because her mother was mentally ill and didn't get proper respect or treatment. And she went to India and tried to organize there and did different things, and she needed some money and wouldn't work with the community. Instead, she took money from the feds and was a little bit compromised in that regard, but not really. She kept doing her work, and then she also was interested in making money, but she isn't like fucking Oprah Winfrey, you know what I'm saying? Like, she isn't like someone who's just using issues to promote herself all the time. She does focus on the actual issues. And like Ms. Magazine was pretty influential, and it had a realistic influence. Like, it was very prevalent in the 70s and whatnot. So she is an opportunistic realist activist who, it's funny because you would think she's idealist. She's really, really not. I think she's up here. What do you think?
Looks good to me.
A little bit more undifferentiated realist. Gloria Steinem.
Spin the wheel of faction. Line. Radicals.
Any more radicals?
Joan of Arc.
Why is Joan of Arc a radical?
Joan of Arc. First, Joan of Arc, at 16, when her dad attempts to arrange a marriage
I
for
thought
her.
she was 14.
She was 16 when he attempted to arrange the marriage for her.
I thought she was like 14 when it all happened.
No.
Oh.
She says lol nope and goes to the magistrate and gets the magistrate to not force her to accept the match.
That's more than an idealist. Because she was religious, so she should have gotten married. Yeah, if she were an idealist, she would have. Because religion was what motivated her.
Honor thy mother and father.
Right.
No. She noped right the hell out of that.
Nope. She noped right the hell out of her gender identity.
And noped right on
into the military, the French army.
She was like, okay, I think that Charles should be the ruler.
Say it in French.
Charles. What was should? Charles est le roi vraiment. Charles is the true king.
That's what she said. Charles
Et le roi vraiment.
Charles est le roi Charles est le roi vraiment.
Yes. So, Charles is the true king. So,
Le roi is king?
Roi, R-O-I,
Oh.
or R-O-I-X.
Uh-huh, right.
So, Charles is the true king,
Le roi.
and
And
she's-
the English stuff.
she goes to Charles's court and says,
Fuck you!
she says, Charles.
Wait, no. She said, love you!
Yes. She says, Charles, I have been chosen by God.
Jean, le suis.
Just,
Jean, je
je
suis
suis-
un Suisse ananas.
no. So she says, Charles, I've been chosen by God. I am on a mission from God to make you king and bring you to victory.
Le suis un bon mousse.
You're just saying random French things now.
No, she is the Swiss pineapple. She is the good mouse. These are things she told Shaw.
Sure. So she does this,
Le chat is bon.
and she kicks ass and takes names right up until
Très chic.
an envious motherfucker in Charles's court says, no,
No!
Joan is getting too much fucking power. We must stop her. And Charles wavers. She says,
No!
attack now.
Eh,
Go forth.
Attack!
And Charles wavers because envious motherfucker is like, she's got too much power. Be afraid. Be afraid.
Mhm.
And
Be
Charles
afraid.
and Charles is like,
Be very afraid. She has too much power.
I'm
This teenage
Boy woman. Did they know that she was a boy woman at that point? Or did they think she was just a boy?
no, they knew she was a girl.
And they still let her have power. Because she was so damn good at what she did.
Yeah, she would. She was.
So they were like-
she was a little voice-hearing schizophrenic strategic
We don't know
prodigy.
that she was schizophrenic, but she did hear voices.
She was a little voice-hearing strategic prodigy. Prodigy.
Prodigy. And they were all like, this girl, she has too much power. That's and she menstruates all over the uniforms.
And so they freaked their shit out and made Charles freak his shit out. And Charles freaked out and hesitated,
Bitch.
which delayed
Bitch.
Joan's assault
Which?
on this particular location, which led to her being defeated, which set in motion the chain of events that eventually led.
Them burning her at the stake for being a witch.
Yes. But no, she was a radical because she wanted Charles on that damn throne. And she
That
was
wasn't an ideal. Nah.
no,
That was change.
that was
Well, no, it wasn't change, but it was, well,
it was change.
she didn't want to break the system. Hold up.
She wanted to change the
She
upend.
did radical things, though.
She wanted to upend the system. She wanted to upend who was king. She wanted to upend who was king. She wasn't so radical as to say there will be no king, or I am king now,
Back in the
bitches.
day, that was very radical. Okay, let's go. She's
Radical.
an idealistic radical. A lot of them are idealistic radicals.
I think she's right there.
Yeah. She's like next to Gandhi and Malcolm X and Jeremy Hammond.
Spin the wheel of faction.
Oh yeah, that's right. It works. Opportunists.
Fuck it.
Radicals? Bill Gates and Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks is the only one who really gets me there, but I don't think she's a radical. I'm
No.
gonna pass.
I think she. Opportunists, radicals,
So we only have realists or idealists left.
idealists.
Is Rosa Parks an idealist?
I think she's a realist.
Is Bill Gates an idealist?
No, I think he might be a.
He's an idealist.
You think he's an idealist?
Gates Foundation.
Yeah, he's there.
He tries to save the world.
He does.
I mean, they've got divisions out doing
He's an
all sorts of
opportunistic idealist.
Well, here's the thing. He didn't use his activism to forward anything. And his realism doesn't represent, his activism doesn't represent, like, okay, so people in Washington State are really concerned, or geeks are really concerned, or, you know.
Right.
Like, it's not like just my people.
So he's an opportunistic idealist.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an opportunistic idealist because he can be compromised by statist. He's been compromised by the statist stuff many times and throughout his
So
career
maybe
as
right
an
about
activist.
there.
Yeah. Would you think that's real, that he's actually an idealist?
I think so.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to help anybody.
No.
He's the richest fucking man in
he's
the
got,
world. He can fuck off. He
has-
can live on the moon if he wants.
Bill Gates has what we refer to as "fuck you" money.
Right. So, and he didn't get that way from his activism.
So there's only one more.
And if
It's
he
your
were
turn.
a realist, he'd be improving like local infrastructure and like putting benches out and like building community centers and tech centers and stuff. What he does is much more worldwide than that.
Mm-hmm. So there's only one left. It's Rosa Parks, and so you're just deciding where you want to put Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks is interesting because I think that it's immediately apparent that she might be an idealist. But here's the thing. She wasn't the first person to not get up out of the colored section when asked. She didn't get up, and she didn't do anything else besides that as an activist that wasn't supported by like a group that wasn't promoting her in the media. So like she didn't go on to radicalize and form clubs and lead groups and make speeches. Okay? Her ideal didn't motivate her in every area of her life for everyone.
And she wasn't consumed by greed.
Oh no, not at all. There's no question she's not an opportunist. I think that Rosa Parks is an example of a realist working kind of in the positive because she was well put together and her issue was very negotiable and it worked within the system. We just don't want to have to be forced into segregation because separate but equal, you know, that was part of that whole separate but equal is not possible thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's a realist.
Well, it wasn't part of it, but it was around the same time.
Yeah, so she's a realist.
And so she was working within the system to change aspects of it and improve it. And then they promoted her message because it was media savvy, media friendly. Okay, we consider her to be a realist. And I think that she's certainly not an opportunistic. What she did was quite radical, and it was also quite idealistic. So I think she's one of these like lofty realists that's up there. Who else is this? She's loftier than Gloria Steinem. So she's up by Gloria Steinem, which basically means that we don't think she would fuck with bullshit.
Yep.
We think that's part of why she didn't move, is she doesn't want to fuck around.
Yep. Well, there we go.
I feel like an idealist might give up their seat.
They
Might.
So this is
Because they can be convinced to do things for other people so
They can.
easily. Okay.
So this has been the Wheel of Faction.
And what we've got to go over it again, in our opportunist category, we've got Benedict Arnold and Cebu. In our idealist category, we have got Bill Gates, Chelsea Manning,
And Frederick Douglass.
and Frederick Douglass.
In our radicals, we have Gandhi, we have Malcolm X, we have Hitler,
Yeah.
we have
Jeremy Hammond.
mhm,
We have, this is funny,
Martin Luther.
Martin Luther. And who's that?
Who is that?
Who's that at the door?
No one's at the door.
It's the police. This
Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc. That's right. That's why you should use name labels. Whatever. That's the first trouble we've had. This is like just a plate.
Okay, and then
through.
lastly, in our
Playtest of a draft.
in our
I guess.
realists section, we have Rosa Parks, Gloria Steinem, Edward Snowden, and who's our last realist? Let's see. Oh, you threw some of them down there. Joe the Plumber.
Joe the Plumber. I was going to say, it's someone we don't really care for. He has a funny face.
Joe the Plumber. And that is everybody. Thank you for joining us for this inaugural game of Wheel of Faction.
And of course, you can play with just the spinner. I hope that you play. If you do play, please comment. If you make a video, please post a link to the video in the comments section here. And, you know, if you're an activist, pay attention to the kinds of strategies and formulas that are utilized by the people in power to control resistances.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.